Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the comedian Prince, or should I say, this is the award nominated comedian, the Savanna Comics Choice Awards nominated comedian Prince. And today I'm doing a video because I am nominated for what I believe is the 10th or is it the 11th annual Savanna Comics Choice Awards. The awards, Savanna Comics Choice, is an annual. It's the biggest celebration of comedians in South Africa and perhaps in Africa. Coveted awards each year, very limited amount of awards that are handed out. So a very limited amount of comedians will ever achieve a Savanna Comics Choice Award in their lifetime. So this, of course, does make this a very prestigious and coveted awards. I was nominated for one of them. This year there are 12 awards that will be handed out in total, in no particular order. We have the Savanna Newcomer Award, that's for the newbies in comedy. The Breakthrough Act of the Year Award, which is the award I previously won in 2017. The Best Comedy Show or Festival, this is for shows and festivals. The Best Solo Show Award, so this is the category that I'm nominated in, is the Best Solo Show Award. The Joe Mafela Award, which is an award that celebrates vernac comedians, comedians who perform in their mother tongue. The Source of the Year Award, Uplifting Comedic Content Award, the Funny is Funny Award, the Best Comedic Writer Award, Headline of the Year Award, and then a very coveted Hall of Fame Award. This is for comedian inducted into the Hall of Fame. And just for the record, this year that comedian is Mark Lottering. The evergreen Mark Lottering will be inducted into the South African Comedy Hall of Fame. And then last but not least, one of the biggest awards as well, the one that people are normally very excited for, is the Comedian of the Year Award. So those are the 12 Savanna Comics Choice Awards, which will be presented this year, 2024, in April at the Savanna Comics Choice Awards. This is super exciting time. So I am nominated, of course. I am nominated in the Solo Show Award. So the Solo Show Award is for comedians who do one-man shows, normally like an hour special, which they tour around the country, record, have on television, have done online. Think of the greatest comedy specials ever. Think of your best Chris Rock shows, Bigger and Blacker. Think of Cat Williams, the Pump Chronicles. Think of Dave Chappelle, Killing Them Softly. These are those one-man specials that are iconic and timeless, and is really a work of art, a piece of work that the comedian ran. It's kind of like an album. I think when it comes to, like, if you have to compare it to musicians, this is kind of like your album. That's your comedy special. So this category is to celebrate those comedians who do have comedy specials, who perform solo shows. And very interesting category. I always wondered that voting for this category is quite difficult, I feel, as a comedian, because comedians vote for comedians. I think it's a difficult category. Because it's hard to vote for these shows if you haven't personally watched all these shows and kept track of the progress of these shows. Perhaps you can keep track of the progress of the comedian, but the shows itself. Because in my mind, in order to rate who has a good one-man show or solo show, I guess on the one hand you have to look at like ticket sales. So who's selling the most tickets? Who are the people who are loving this show and watching the show? I mean, it can be an amazing show, but if no one cares about the show, it's kind of awkward, isn't it? So ticket sales is one thing, and I'm sure we don't know like the ticket sales stats of all these shows, but you can almost imagine to see which sells better than the other ones. Other than that, I would say the content of the show, obviously that's very important. Are comedians going out? Are they watching these shows? Are they seeing the content of these shows? Are you able to charge it according to its content? Sometimes some comedians are selling tickets upon tickets upon tickets, but the content of the show is pretty hacky and pretty stale, pretty old. But I mean, the audience don't always know, you know, audience don't always know better, so they're gonna enjoy it in any case. So there's that, and then I also just think like the prestige of the show. Some shows are really prestigious, like this guys over here who've actually performed the show outside of South Africa in prestigious venues. There's people who's performed in big grand theaters and grand arenas. I mean, taking the show over there, that's a pretty major step for a show. Then there's other shows that are just award-winning. You know, they've won, they've been on cover of magazines, they've been in newspapers. They are award-winning shows. The shows have accolades. So all these shows, it's a very difficult category to vote in. I mean, case in point, if you ever look at one of my first fellow nominees, Mr. Ambrose Uren, who's performing Africanish. Great quality show. I think he's been performing the show now for at least 2 to 3 to 4 years. I mean, Ambrose, you'll correct me if I'm wrong. But what's special for me about this show is that even though I haven't watched the show personally, I know Ambrose, of course, is a comedian, very talented. Also on social media, you kind of get to see the amount of posters the person's putting out, photos, the amount of, you know, marketing out, performing here, gig guides. It's kind of where you get a sense of how many times the person has performed the show. But what's really special about this show is that Ambrose has actually performed this show, I know, outside of South Africa. So I think it was at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and a few other European countries. So if you ask me what makes his nomination in this category very special, is the fact that this show has actually seen foreign lands. So I mean, that is a major plus for this show. Then if you look at Celeste Ntuli, so Celeste Ntuli, her show is called Money and Men. Now if you ever look at her show, for instance, I mean, Celeste has performed the show all over South Africa, always in big venues, massive venues. I mean, we're talking about over 100 tickets to be sold every single time, if not more. I'm thinking Celeste probably sells like 500, 600, I don't know the correct stats, but I do know that it is, if you were to vote for Celeste and she won this category, you know exactly why. It's because she's done the show a ton of times, she sold a ton of tickets. And knowing Celeste, you know she's a powerful performer. So you know that the content of that show too is crisp. In fact, I've seen a few gags from that show, and the content crisp. Then you have Dalen Oliver, 90-day comedian. Dalen has always consistently put out quality shows, and when Dalen puts out a show, he really works the show. Like, so he goes to festivals, he runs theaters. Dalen performs in weird places that you don't even know. He's probably performing at schools and parents and staff events. So he's a very hardworking comedian, travels, really works hard. And what a dope name for a show, 90-day comedian. So I don't know much about the content of that show. I haven't watched it, but I do know from previous shows that Dalen's content is always well curated, well thought through, well practiced, well executed. And of course, I'm sure he's doing the show multiple times in Cape Town. And so forth. So once again, nice one, Dalen. And then of course there's myself, Prince, live and recorded. What's special about my show, I'd say, is that it's a fully self-funded, self-produced show. So the show was basically performed, recorded, and placed on YouTube. You know, I feel like in the South African context, many times as comedians we struggle, right? You have to pay someone to come and record your show. That costs a ton of money. They want certain rights to the show. Then you need to find a distribution platform for the show. Is it going to be Showmax? Is it Netflix? Sometimes they don't even want you. Netflix don't want you. They ain't calling me. Showmax, they ain't calling me. So or sometimes you put your show on these platforms and it just shelves on the platforms. No one even watches the show. They don't really market the show, advertise the show. So this was kind of like a DIY project. Prince live and recorded DIY, do it yourself, record it yourself, market it yourself, promote it yourself, post-production, edit it yourself, put it online yourself, distribute it yourself, market it yourself, promote it yourself. So I think that's really what's special for me about this show. It's never mind the fact that the content is super hilarious, but also I think that's the special element here. It's really the post-COVID do-it-yourself mentality. That's with that show. And then of course my last nominee in the group, Sifiso Nene, once again. Sifiso has a show called Baby Mama Drama, which he's been performing for quite a while now. Sifiso will also correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's been doing the show for a good 5 or 6 years. So again, this is one of those shows that it's been through and through. It's thorough. It's been performed in multiple venues, multiple occasions. The content is tried and tested through and through and through. I'm sure Sifiso performs the show in English and performs it in vernacular. So once again, similar as Celeste, if you had to look at the ticket sales numbers, it's probably through the roof because it's a lot of tickets being sold over a long duration of period of time. So again, if you had to vote for Sifiso Nene, it would be totally understandable. And also I'm saying it's a very difficult category to vote in. The last show over there is obviously Calvin H. Goldstone and Robbie Collins for a show called Durban Nights. I love Robbie, I love Calvin. I'm not sure what the show is doing in this category because it is a solo show category, and there's two names there, so I don't know who's the performer and who's the stage. But yes, I'm not quite sure. Sometimes you just have to go read the definitions. Sometimes you don't read the definitions of the shows correctly. Now we get all confused. Maybe solo show means, I'm not sure what it means. I thought it meant one-man show. But okay, that show's over there. I don't know much about that show. I just know that it had a lot of good energy around it the first time I saw the show marketed and put out. But those are the nominees, guys, and as you can see, quality. I mean, Ambrose, you're an international traveling. We have Celeste Tulu, who's won Comic of the Year before. Dalen Oliver, who I believe has also won some awards. Dalen, not sure, but definitely in Cape Town, he's multi-award winning. He's won everything the Western Cape has to offer. Prince Live and Recorded, that's me. I don't want to say too much about myself, but yeah, I'm proud of that show. It's on YouTube right now. Please go check it out. And of course, Sifiso Nene, Baby Mama Drama, Calvin H. Goldstone and Robbie Collins, guys. The Savanna Comics Choice Awards happening in April. Get yourself a ticket, come through and see who win all the categories of quality. This category is no different. The Best Solo Show Award. Yeah. Hit me up in the comments if there's anything you'd like to comment on the category itself, the other awards. Do you have questions? Do you have answers? Do you have comments? Do you have opinions? My name is Prince, award-nominated comedian Prince, and yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my comedy clips. Check out my TikTok, my Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. That's the most important. And yeah, keep well and see you at the Savanna Comics Choice Awards.